Let's face it, people love vampires. But when it comes to vampire video games, things have been hit or miss. With the last proper Castlevania games dropping over a decade ago, we've only had a few decent attempts to sink our teeth into, like Vampire or The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. And then, we had Redfall. So when a new vampire game shows up, it's fair to ask, is it actually good? Or just another bite with no teeth? Well, one of the biggest surprises in that space came from a studio no one expected. When Stunlock Studios, the team behind arena brawlers like Battlerite and Bloodline Champions, announced they were making a vampire survival game, it turned heads. Not just because it was a genre shift, but because they promised something bold. A dark fantasy world where you play as the vampire, building your castle, hunting humans, and fighting to reclaim your power. And somehow, against all odds, they pulled it off. Their game quietly launched in early access back in 2022. And by the time it hit version 1.0 in 2024, it had already built a loyal fan base of over 3.5 million players. So how did a studio known for PvP arena games created one of the most unique vampire titles in years? Let's take a look at how V Rising rose from the shadows. But first, a huge shout out to Chosen. This project wouldn't have come together without the footage he provided. I really appreciate your help. To understand how V Rising came to life, you first need to understand the team behind it. Stunlock Studios is a small but battle-tested developer with deep roots in competitive multiplayer games. Since their founding in 2010, they'd been known for Battlerite and Bloodline Champions, stylish, skill-heavy arena brawlers that earned a cult following for their fluid combat and sharp design. But by 2019, after years of tuning hitboxes and cooldowns, the team was ready for something different. As creative director Martin Lovgren put it, they wanted to explore new territory, something ambitious, atmospheric, and outside the PvP box. With their new direction in mind, Stunlock didn't retreat into secrecy. Instead, they embraced openness from the start. Their 40-person team committed to one of the most transparent and community-driven development cycles in recent memory. They shared in-depth dev blogs, engaged directly with players on Discord, and regularly published roadmaps to keep expectations clear. The idea that sparked V Rising came from Martin Lovgren, who asked a simple question: what if you woke up in a coffin, centuries after the fall of vampirekind, stripped of power and determined to rise again? That premise, starting at rock bottom and clawing your way back to power, became the soul of V Rising. The devs describe it as a true vampire power fantasy, wrapped in survival mechanics and soaked in gothic atmosphere. The art direction followed suit. The goal was a visual tone that drifted between melancholy, darkness, and beauty. To achieve it, Stunlock combined realistic textures with stylized, outlined characters. The result is a world that feels grounded, yet still pops with illustrated flair. Moody, readable, and distinct. The lore of Vardarin, the game's setting, draws deeply from classic vampire myth, but remixes it into something more dynamic. This was once a vampire-ruled world, now lost to bandits, priests, and rising human kingdoms. Farbane Woods, your starting zone, is strewn with crumbling vampire ruins, haunted by the ghosts of your kind. To the east, the farmlands are fortified by the Church of Luminance, crusaders who've seized power in your absence. The devs wanted each region to feel like a chapter in a larger story. Every shattered castle, blood-stained battlefield, or roaming monster hints at a past conflict. You're not just exploring a map, you're uncovering what's left of a fallen empire. And while most of the inspiration came from gothic horror and vampire folklore, there was one other major influence: Netflix's Castlevania. The devs directly cited the animated series as a stylistic and tonal touchstone, especially for how it balances operatic violence with tragic storytelling and gothic world-building. This careful blend of genre tropes, art direction, and deep lore gave the game its identity. It wasn't just Vampire Valheim, it was something darker, moodier, and more mythic, a world where every corner drips with story and blood. One of the most ambitious things about V Rising isn't its combat, castle building, or even the world of Vardoran. It's what's running under the hood. When Stunlock set out to build the game, they made a bold decision: to ditch their old codebase entirely and rebuild the engine from scratch. They chose to develop V Rising using Unity's DOTS framework, short for Data-Oriented Technology Stack, a relatively experimental system that emphasizes multi-threaded performance by default. Why take the risk? Simple. Their previous game, Battlerite, hit performance bottlenecks even on high-end PCs. The studio realized that traditional Unity couldn't efficiently handle large dynamic environments across many CPU cores. So, with V Rising, they went all in on DOTS to unlock more power from players' machines. And it worked. Thanks to DOTS, V-Rising can process physics, AI, and rendering across multiple CPU threads, allowing for a world full of movement and interaction. In fact, the devs bragged that the game can support over 100,000 destructible and interactive objects. Trees, rocks, coffins, chairs. If it's in the world, chances are you can smash it. But building this engine wasn't easy. DOTS was still evolving when development began, so the Stunlock engineers had to work alongside Unity's own updates, often adapting their systems in real time. For months, the tech team developed the game's engine in isolation, laying the groundwork for things like pathfinding, physics, and rendering, while the designers prototyped gameplay in a placeholder engine build. This parallel approach let them move fast. While programmers solved multi-threaded performance, designers could test magic spells, weapon swings, and enemy AI, all without waiting for the final engine to be stable. It was a gamble, but it paid off. V-Rising doesn't just look good, it runs incredibly well, even with dozens of players, mobs, and destructible environments all firing off at once. That level of smooth, scalable performance, it's the result of smart engineering decisions and a team willing to build their tools from the ground up to match their ambition. At its core, V-Rising is a game about power, how you lose it, how you earn it back, and what you're willing to do to keep it. Before you begin your ascent, you craft your vampire. From pale aristocrats to feral beasts, the character creator lets you choose facial features, hairstyles, skin tones, and eye colors, each tweak helping you define the kind of monster you want to be. It's not overly complex, but it sets the tone. This is your legacy, your nightmare, your rise. You start as a newly awakened vampire, buried in a forgotten crypt and stripped of everything. No powers, no servants, no castle, just hunger and the distant memory of your former glory. The world around you has moved on. Humans rule and the age of vampires has long since passed. But you're not here to blend in. You're here to become the next Dracula. What follows is a survival RPG built on a rich blend of systems, part Diablo, part Valheim, part Castlevania fever dream. By day, you hide in shadows to avoid the searing sunlight. By night, you hunt, build, and battle your way through the open world of Vardarun, a gothic land teeming with bandits, priests, monsters, and rival vampires. Combat is real-time and skill-based. You can wield swords, axes, bows, or even cast blood-fueled spells. Each vampire can equip 2 weapons, 2 spells, and 1 ultimate, leading to layered, dynamic combat with tons of variety. And the best part? Every time you defeat a boss, you unlock a new vampire power. Over time, you transform from a half-dead shadow to an unstoppable force of the night. But combat is only half the story. You also need a castle, your sanctuary and symbol of power. Players can claim territory, gather resources, and build sprawling vampire strongholds, complete with multi-floor towers, workbenches, throne rooms, torture chambers, and ornate decorations. You'll mine ore, chop wood, distill blood potions, and even craft servants, former enemies turned loyal thralls who maintain your castle while you hunt. The day-night cycle is more than visual, it defines how you play. At night, you're the predator. But in daylight, you're prey. Sunlight is instant death unless you dash between shadows or craft special gear. There's real tension in raiding a human village and racing back before dawn. On top of that, the world throws constant threats your way. Holy symbols, silver weapons, garlic traps, and roaming vampire hunters all make Vardarun feel like it's actively pushing back against you. And Vardarun itself is more than just a backdrop. The world is carved into distinct regions, haunted woods, sun-drenched farmlands, ruined castles, cursed dungeons, each with unique enemies, factions, and lore. There's no traditional questline, but story is everywhere. Ruined estates hint at fallen vampire empires. Battlefields soaked in blood speak to long-forgotten wars. The environment tells its own story, one of decay, survival, and ancient power. Factions in the world interact without you. Bandits fight church guards, werewolves raid villages, and wandering NPCs cross paths in unscripted events. All of this, the survival mechanics, the layered combat, the world building, is wrapped in vampire mythos. You're not just surviving the world, you're reshaping it. V-Rising wasn't just dropped on the world, it was revealed in 2021 and launched into Steam Early Access on May 17, 2022, where it immediately caught fire. The game shot straight to #1 on the Steam charts, selling over 500,000 copies in 3 days, and crossing 1 million by the end of its first week. Players were hooked. The gothic survival loop, castle building, and real-time combat all hit hard. But Early Access didn't just showcase the strengths, it revealed the flaws too. And that's where Stunlock's approach truly shined. One major point of criticism? The game required an always online connection, even in solo play. The backlash was immediate, and the response was fast. Within days, offline mode was patched in and Stunlock made it clear they were listening. Over the next 2 years, V Rising evolved in the open, with developers maintaining a constant dialogue with the community, sharing weekly updates, behind-the-scenes dev blogs, and even soliciting player ideas directly. As fans reported bugs, suggested features, and built literal Gothic masterpieces on public servers, the devs quietly incorporated all of it. Then, in May 2023, a huge milestone arrived: the Free Secrets of Gloomrot expansion. This twisted, Frankenstein-inspired zone introduced multi-level castle building, lightning magic, new weapons, and 13 deadly bosses, dramatically expanding the game world and adding tools players had begged for. The team even credited the fanbase directly in patch notes, saying they took a lot of inspiration from the community for Gloomrot's features. By the time V Rising reached its 1.0 launch on May 8, 2024, it had become something much deeper, refined by 2 years of real-time collaboration and player feedback. That full release marked the final chapter in the vampire's rise to power. New features included a dramatic endgame zone, the Ruins of Mortium, a final showdown with a vampire king, visual polish, gamepad support, and a revamped power progression system. The reception was glowing. IGN awarded it a 9 out of 10, with reviewer Liana Hafer writing, "V Rising has been nicely polished up during its dark slumber in early access, allowing it to fully rise to the occasion with its excellent boss design and challenging ARPG combat." On Steam, the game sits at a very positive rating, based on over 97,000 user reviews, a testament to both its quality and the loyalty of its fanbase. And the numbers? Just as sharp as the fangs. By early 2025, V Rising had sold over 5 million copies. It topped charts on Steam, broke through on the Epic Games Store, and dominated Twitch and YouTube, fueled by guides, mods, memes, and fan-run servers. But chart dominance wasn't the end of the story. Shortly after launch, Stunlock unveiled something fans didn't expect: a Castlevania crossover, developed in collaboration with Konami. This premium DLC let players don iconic outfits from the franchise: Simon Belmont's armor, Shinoa's gothic dress, and Soma Cruz's coat, unlocked by challenging Belmont himself in battle. Later that October, the crossover expanded with a free update that added even more cosmetics for fans of classic vampire hunting flair. Then came another surprise. On April 28, 2025, Stunlock released the Eternal Dominance Pack, a new premium DLC focused entirely on vampiric decadence and power fantasy. It introduced a towering Gothic throne, regal capes, ornate armor sets, new emotes, and high-tier castle decorations perfect for players who wanted to rule Vardaran in style. And that wasn't all. Nearly a year later, on April 28, 2025, Stunlock released version 1.1, Invaders of Oakville, a massive free update that expanded the game in meaningful ways. A brand new zone, a powerful enemy faction, new bosses, and 3 new weapon types: throwing daggers, claws, and a duelist staff. Vault storage, global PvP arenas, and full Steam Deck support. This kind of sustained post-launch support has become Stunlock's signature. From wild lightning powers to community-inspired mechanics, they've made it clear that V Rising isn't just a game, it's a growing vampire sandbox shaped by the people playing it. From a bold gamble by a PvP arena studio to one of the most beloved vampire survival games in the world, V Rising is proof that small teams with a clear vision and a willingness to listen can build something truly legendary. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark, stylish world of V Rising, sink your teeth into that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel grow, and you'll be the first to know when a new video rises from the crypt. We're aiming for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and with your support, we're well on our way. And if Gothic worlds and creative combat are your thing, you'll love our deep dive into Darksiders Genesis, an isometric action RPG packed with demonic lore, co-op chaos, and more in common with V Rising than you'd expect.